How did your experience with the housing executive go?
Well, like anybody really goes to housing executive, there's good experiences and there's bad experiences. I, on the other hand, the first time I went, it was good. They were all nicey. They talked you through everything, got everything done. And the second time I went, it was like they just couldn't care and they couldn't give two craps about who you are or what's happening with you and what you need help with.
Okay. What made you have to go to the housing executive in the first place?
The reason I had to go to housing executive was there was a massive blowout in the house and I was through out, so I stayed with family members for a couple of days, but their house was overcrowded as it was. So I asked youth workers, got their advice, and they phoned people, and the only advice they were given was to go to a housing executive and declare yourself as being homeless.
Yeah.
So obviously that's what I had to do. The waiting times were unreal. I had to sit from it open at 9 o'clock right through until after it closed, about 6, half 6, even though it shut at 5, just to get my problem sorted.
What happened next?
Well, after waiting that long in the housing executive, it was, in the end, they finally got me somewhere to stay, which was only temporary, as I said. So they had to send me there and wait until the social after the weekend could get involved.
So after you had talked to the social workers and stuff, and you went back down to the housing executive, were they any more helpful?
No,
And what happened?
they were probably worse. It was like they had cancelled my first report, my appointment the first time I went down to declare that I was homeless. They deleted that file and said they had no recollection of who I was or that I came down in the first place, last year. Just continued from that.
Do you think that's a one-off, or do you think it's sort of typical of the housing executive and the sort of reputation they have?
I think it's typical, to be honest, because ask anyone that has to go down to housing, most people that you ask suffer from the same things.
So what's going to happen now, and where do you see yourself in a year's time?
Now, I've been moved about 5 or 6 different places I've been moved to. Right now, I'm up in the foster families, but my mental health has declined drastically. But I'm only there until March, and then I'm being moved again into a hostel with no further support.
Is there a reason why March? Why that specific time?
Because legally you're not allowed to stay in foster care until when you're 18, so I have to be out of their house before my 18th birthday.